2 days until President Biden's high-stakes meeting with China's President Xi Jinping. It'll happen in San Francisco, California. And there are no shortage of important subjects to talk about amid their rising tensions between the world's two largest economies and the men who lead them. Republicans are urging President Biden to confront Xi on Beijing's aggression with Taiwan and in the South China Sea in general. Critics with big questions on Biden's ability to project strength.
I doubt that we're going to get anything out of this. Joe Biden hasn't shown to be a very strong leader on the world stage, and I am afraid that he's going to be overmatched with Xi Jinping. I'd expect nothing less in this meeting with Xi Jinping, that they'll say great things, but actually what happens is going to be counter to what's in the best interest of America and Americans.
Tammy Bruce, now Fox News contributor. If only it could be what Representative Jimenez of Florida is saying, that it could just be a tamp down nothing moment. It could be something different.
It could be. And what we've seen with whatever Biden does, things get worse. We also know that China has American hostages. These are individuals who we've declared are being held improperly, that it's not a legitimate holding of Americans. Who knows what's going to happen there? So another country that's taken Americans. We know, of course, we've got action in South China Sea, dozens of Chinese ships chasing ships from the Philippines. It's an outrageous environment. Xi did not even bother to go to the UN a couple weeks ago, well, when the UN was here in New York, because nobody takes Biden seriously. So this is going to be what some call a zombie meeting, where really nothing occurs. But the problem is China, they're in the catbird seat. There is absolutely nothing they need to do for the United States that matters.
Well, at this particular point, maybe not exactly as it would normally be, because China's economy is faltering.
Well, it is, but they also recognize they're getting a lot of service and oil from Iran. They're in league with China. They're in league with Russia. They're involved in the Gaza dynamic through Iran. So there's a lot of weapons. There's a lot of money. There's oil going back and forth. Everyone within that circle is winning financially, and that's something that they want to keep going as America continues to falter.
So, and you rightfully point out that while their economy may be dipping a little bit, they're willing to do some things and hang out with people that perhaps we wouldn't at this point. But to describe their situation, our situation, as more zombie-like than theirs is really troubling politically. Then there were 7. Last night, Senator Tim Scott suspended his campaign for the White House. Many say it's time for the field to get even thinner to effectively take on former President Donald Trump. Candidate and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley on the GOP frontrunner.
Certainly, Trump has some strong support. I've always said he was the right president at the right time, and I agree with a lot of his policies. The problem is drama and chaos follow him, whether fairly or not. It is constantly following him, and Americans feel it. And so I think you can look at that with our elections over and over again. We pay the price for it. And I think what's really important is we need to have someone who can win the general election as well.
Here's an op-ed that makes a case. If Christie, Scott, and Ramaswamy believe the party needs new leadership, as they claim, and that voters across the country deserve something better than a rematch between the 80-year-old incumbent and his 77-year-old predecessor, they should demonstrate it by dropping out of the primary immediately and let DeSantis and Haley finish the fight against Trump. And that's from the Washington Examiner. Your reaction?
Well, the thing about Tim Scott is he's not in it as a vanity project. He cares. He really wants to make a difference. And others in that lineup are there for vanity, for themselves. They're there for promotion or to expand their own political agenda. Well, I'm not a big fan, I think, as people know, of this Vivek Ramaswamy. I think that Chris Christie is there just simply to continue to try to punch Donald Trump in the nose. And I think that these debates and the primaries are meant to, deal with that field. But Haley is also correct. If they believe that they can beat Donald Trump, then there needs to be a focus. But it also shows the Democrats and Republicans, the talent bench, the people who are serious, that are not here for just themselves, that are here for the country. Scott is one of those individuals, clearly a continuing leader in the party.
It's interesting. I've heard you and others take on Vivek Ramaswamy since the debate. I will say this. No one gets that young voter out like he does. I mean, he has a way of galvanizing that young generation and getting them talking. And for all that Tim Scott did that was wonderful and faith and all of that, he just couldn't get people, as he said, it wasn't his time.
Well, I think there's a difference between when people are deciding and going to vote. Getting people talking on social media is not getting them out to vote. It's not informing them about the issues. It can't be, you know, a radio talk show moment. It's serious dynamics, especially with the world at war. So people will get serious. Maybe it's entertainment right now, but when it comes right down to it, they're going to decide who can face down a world at war, get the economy back on track, and yes, the Democrats will be upset, and so will the left, but that's going to happen with Trump or Haley or DeSantis. It's not reserved for only him.
And I was just going to say, Trump can do all that for certain.
So, strangely enough, yes, we know.
He can do any kind of a show.
He can do all of it.
NBC for 19 years. He can have that number. And he can do all the other things. So it's going to be interesting.
I think Nikki Haley can.
It needs to winnow.
But they've needed to do that for quite some time and to focus. And to be honest, I think Nikki Haley has the potential of those things. It's a great team, and America will be better off when the Republicans get their act together.
All right, let's move. Before we go on, I want to mention a special Voters' Voices coming up. Ambassador Nikki Haley will join me and sit down with our panel of voters. Remember, we did this first with Vivek Ramaswamy, and people love that, especially those voters who were with us. So we want to do it again and again and again, right here on the Faulkner Focus. This one is tomorrow, 11 a.m. Tammy, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. That's going to be terrific.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.